Hello everyone, thank you for joining us. My name's Alexa. We're here at the Google Hangout Studio. I am with CEO and founder of Amplify Media Marketing, Travis French, here to interview him and ask him questions about Amplify Media. So Travis, who is Amplify Media Marketing?
Well, first, thanks for having me here. I
Of
really
course.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Amplify is a marketing services company that specializes in lead generation and brand awareness campaigns for SMBs, small, medium-sized businesses throughout North America.
Awesome. So with so much competition in the marketplace, what sets Amplify apart?
So there's really two things that set Amplify apart. One of those being our product and service offering.
Okay.
That's diverse enough that we don't have to force something on to those clients or those SMBs. And that really kind of separates us apart from other organizations that maybe only have a product set of say 5, and
Right.
that's all that they can offer that small business. So those are really forced upon that client, which isn't ultimately the right thing for them, because that's not going to be the most profitable campaign and the best product for them. The second thing that sets us apart is our we don't necessarily focus on a niche or a specific vertical of a business.
Okay.
So we have businesses across various verticals, from plumbers to restaurants, and all of the verticals, and we're able to kind of use that data and trends and what we see with those customers and apply that to other businesses that might see that same type of success. So those two things, that the first on the side of the product and service offering, that kind of sets us apart from the larger organizations, because what you see from them is a very limited product set, because it's very hard for them to disperse through their sales organizations.
Right.
And so that really sets us apart from them. Having that diverse product, or the diverse client set, sets us apart from the smaller organizations, because a lot of times they don't have that large of a volume of a client base. So those are kind of two things that really kind of set us apart.
Okay, so what does a typical client look like for you guys?
So again, we don't really focus on any verticals. So it's the plumbers to pest control to HVAC to medical
Okay.
practices and restaurants and small mom and pop little shops on the corner of retail.
Mhm.
And they're 10 to 100 employees, and they've typically maybe have experimented with some marketing in the past, a website or whatever the case may be.
Right.
We get a lot of customers that come to us with a pain point or an issue that they're already having, and we try to solve that for them. And typically what you see is, once we solve that pain point, they move into more of our product offerings, because we're able to show them that we can move them through that process, and we actually are there for them, and we're capable of that with our knowledge and our expertise.
Okay, great. So speaking of products, what type of products and services do you guys offer?
So Amplify really takes a bucket approach to all of this, something I coined probably like 5 years ago when I started Amplify, and it comes from a pain point of those larger organizations only having those 5 product sets, and a lot of times that's not what's right for those small businesses, and they're just being forced upon that, or sold a bad egg, so to speak. And so that was always been a pain point with me. So when I founded Amplify, I really wanted to have a product set that was diverse enough
Okay.
to truly do what was right for those customers and fill those buckets. So each customer is going to be different. John the plumber in Cleveland might be even different than David the plumber in Cleveland. Just depends on their target, their margins, their customers, their past current customer base. There's a lot of different factors in that, and that's
Right.
what a lot of SMBs don't understand, and we try to communicate. So with our product set, we're able to really place those in there. So that's everything from anything in the digital environment we'll pretty much be able to do that revolves around lead generation or brand awareness.
Okay.
So website development, mobile app development are two type of software products, and then from there it's paid search, remarketing, retargeting, YouTube, Facebook, social media management, reputation management, all of those products that come into line with those SMBs, local SEO, all of that come into play, and that's really how we see success, because we're able to fill those buckets.
Wow, that's impressive. So how does Amplify simplify the marketing process?
Yeah, it's a good one, right? Because it's been so overwhelming for the SMBs over the past few years that they're inundated with data reports, or this works and this doesn't, and so we kind of take two approaches to that. One is transparency, very
Okay.
transparent in where that money is going, whether if they have a budget that's being broken into different components, we're very transparent with where that's being spent, and especially when it comes down to media, how much media is actually being spent of their budget. And that's something that kind of sets us apart and gives that feeling that, okay, we really actually trust these people because they're showing this transparency.
Right.
And secondly is reporting, being very simple and straightforward with that, and showing them the data points that they need to know from a high level that makes sense to them, and keeping it very simple for them.
So what is the most pressing issue that you think SMBs face today?
So they're obviously facing a lot of things. I mean, they've always gotten hounded by phone call after phone call weekly of just not marketing product, but any type of product that they have.
Right.
And in the past 8 years, there's all kinds of new marketing products, and it's become very fragmented. There's an app for this, there's an app for this, I can do this or that. And most of these small business owners aren't very tech savvy to begin with, so they have no idea what questions to ask, or what's it going to do, or what's really my return, or is it needed? Can I get a better result with the other guy that just called, or this guy? And a lot of them just don't get that, and that's a very pressing issue for them, because if they decide to go with company X that just called them, and it's the same type of maybe a product that we provision, and they don't see success because company X managed it poorly, they're not going to get a good experience, and they're kind of burned from that when really it could have been a profitable campaign. We've had a lot of customers that we'll do paid search campaigns for that we've taken over prior management, and a good example is we're able to actually decrease their obviously cost per click and lower their budget, right? And they're still getting the same, more calls or more leads than what they were before, and it's just pure management of it. And so it's really a problem that they're facing, obviously, in terms of that, in terms of marketing. And on the other end of that is the consumer side. The consumer buying process has shifted so much over the past few years, especially ever since everybody's looking down. So that's changed a lot. They don't even really know who their customers are exactly anymore, and they definitely don't know how they're finding them. How the consumer is finding their business. And that's a big pain point, because if they don't know that, how are they going to pick where to spend their money at? And that's kind of where we step in and kind of help guide them through that.
That's great. So what do you think the most pressing issues marketers face today?
It kind of goes back to the same thing, how fragmented the industry is, and it's very overwhelming even for a marketer, very stressful for an onboarding team and strategy to implement that and communicate that to the customer to get trust that, okay, we actually know where we're going to place this media or buy this media or do this campaign. And it comes back into that data, that there's so much data across so many platforms, so fragmented that it's very hard to spot those trends or see a slight adjustment in a consumer path can wreak havoc. And that's a big issue that a lot of marketers can get lost in. It's very important for us to understand that data and analyze it and see what correlates. Right. It's bad when a small business, that's another issue that they face, back to the last question, is they can they see us doing it, so they think they need to do that, and they just get lost in the weeds and the rustle, and they just waste their time. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting, because it's almost like the same problems on both sides. There's too much data, there's just too much going on, and it's hard for anyone to really understand, where to be. Right. And it just takes a commitment and really understanding kind of what's your customer is.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you so much. It was so great hanging out with you and learning about Amplify. Hope you come back soon.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Of course.